What is going on, everybody? Tanner Phifer here with the NFL Rumors podcast. Tanner Phifer NFL on Twitter and Phifer Football on Instagram, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 5 of the NFL Rumors podcast here with the ever so famous NFL Rumors Twitter account. We're just going to be going over all your latest NFL news, your latest NFL rumors, everything trending right now. And we're just going to be talking, having fun, just like we always do. Thank you so much for the great support on last episode with Gary Myers. We still are looking to choose a winner for a free copy of his book, Once a Giant. NFL Rumors, welcome.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here with you today. Glad to be here with another week of the podcast.
Absolutely.
Really like to have Gary on. We'll be choosing a winner. I'm just trying to give everybody a good opportunity to come see the video and give everybody a good opportunity for the book.
Yep. No, that sounds good. So what is one thing going around the NFL right now that you have? Okay. Let's start it off this way. Let's start the episode off with a banger. If you could list 3 topics right now in the NFL, trending, biggest rumors, biggest news, what are the top 3 in order, or at least one of the 3 that you'd love to talk about right now?
I'd say number 1 for me is the AFC playoff picture.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, the AFC playoff picture will be the big one, and we'll list them off and then kind of go from there. The other one I would say for me is what is Justin Fields going to be a Bear next season, or is he going to play for another team?
Okay, well, let's start off with the AFC playoff picture then. What's your biggest concern or your biggest, I don't know, like what's the biggest wild card that you're seeing, biggest curveballs? What is going on with the AFC playoff picture?
Well, the AFC playoff picture, you got a lot of people that still like in the mix, right? Like you got the surprise Houston Texans, who is playing great. So you really love to see what they're doing. One of the biggest stories probably is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They just lost they were in control, right?
They were, and what they on a 4-game losing streak or 3-game?
Well, I mean, they broke NFL history as well because they're the only 500+ team that ever lost to two win teams in a row.
Yeah, they're the only over 500 team to ever lose to back-to-back under 500 tems or something.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but you know what? I mean, I was hearing some rumors too. I mean, I don't know. I know that Mike Tomlin's beloved in Pittsburgh. Yeah, but like he went to the back. He went on the back of Mitchell Trubisky. Backing him. Now he backed Matt Canada for a long time before making the change. I'm not seeing a move. I don't. Pittsburgh will never fire Mike Tomlin. Like somebody would trade for Mike Tomlin. Before that he's fired. But Mike Tomlin is putting himself in a awkward situation, I'll just say.
So do you think Mike Tomlin has already dug himself a hole? Is that what you're saying?
I think he has dug himself a little hole that he didn't need to, right? Because, he is a miraculous coach. I mean, he's done, his resume speaks for itself. He's done great things, but like the quarterback situation and some of that stuff, the biggest thing I would say right now that people's noticing is his locker room is in disarray, maybe for the first time ever in his coaching tenure.
But I feel like Mike Tomlin's wide receiver group has always been just a wild card. I mean, you got AB, Juju Smith-Schuster. Now you got George Pickens. Someone's always heated in that wide receiver room.
Yeah, and then Minkah Fitzpatrick 2 weeks in a row is blasting teammates, right?
Yeah,
trying to get them motivated and stuff like that. And I'm sure Mike Tomlin's good with that, to try to get them motivated and things of that nature. But sometimes that could have a real downward effect as well, right? Like, it can pull away. And there was a lot of rumors going around when Kenny Pickett was there and Matt Canada was let go, that they was a split. Like some people wanted Matt Canada to stay, some people didn't. I mean, I'm kind of leaning toward Pittsburgh will stay with Mike Tomlin, right? But I mean, I do think that he put himself in a situation of talk that he didn't need to, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's hard. I mean, Mike Tomlin's been the guy. He's been the guy for a long time. How many seasons? Like almost 20?
Yeah, they don't make changes much. Steelers don't make changes very often.
No. And for them to make a midseason change at offensive coordinator, that was the first time since like what, the 50s or 60s or something like that they've made a coaching change midseason.
Yes.
And that the last time they did that was a head coaching change midseason. So we're just talking about offensive coordinator, but dude, their offense is looking trash. Like it's not looking any better. It's not looking any more consistent. Mitch Trubisky, I don't think actually played horrible. But like the plays that didn't produce any yardage were just booed instantly. Just booed.
Well, yeah, and when you think about this, like when we're talking about the standings and everything, like,
yeah.
Well, I mean, Mitchell Trubisky, one of the things I will tell you, like this is the big MO he had in Chicago was you show him a defense and then you change it. You show him a pre-snap and then you change it and he can't read it, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's never changed. Like they did the same thing in New England. They did the same thing in that game. They showed him a look and then they changed it and they got a pick and then they almost got another pick off of it. So, like, unless he changes that, that's going to cause Pittsburgh a lot of problems.
So while we're on this game, what do you think about Bailey Zappi and his performance?
I think Bailey Zappi did a really good job, Tanner. I think he did 3 touchdowns. Mac Jones got 10 touchdowns all year. So I mean, you're thinking he's, give this guy a shot. A lot of people thinks he should have had a shot from day one, like, and I'm not saying that I disagree at this point. I mean, he has showed maybe he should have,
but do you think that this Bailey Zappi performance was a fluke or not a fluke?
I don't think it's a fluke. I think that they probably put him in some good situations. Mac Jones has a lot of turnovers, and that was one of his big things. He's having he had a really good year. It seems like when people got tape on him, though, after that, like he started getting in some struggles, right?
Oh, for sure.
So, I mean, Mac Jones will definitely, in my opinion, not be a member of the Patriots this year.
Okay, so one second. While we're on Mac Jones, where do you think Mac Jones will be playing? Do you think he will be playing anywhere next season?
Yeah, I do think he'll be playing somewhere. I think, this league is definitely always looking for a quarterback to give a chance, as you've seen with Trey Lance, other players. They're always going to look at giving a chance. There are going to be some teams that's going to be definitely needing a quarterback.
Yeah.
They should be able to pull the trigger, move him to a good place, in my opinion. You could even, look at the point that he could go somewhere to a team that is, to give him a fresh start. Zach Wilson, same boat, right? I mean, he's likely not going to be a member of the Jets next year. So that both of those AFC quarterbacks people talked about, they were high draft picks, and that top of that draft is starting to look a little shaky.
Oh, for sure, it's looking horrible. But not Mac Jones. Do you think Mac Jones and even Zach Wilson will be starters next year, or I think they're just going to be backups?
That could be the question right there. Like the starter might be a different ball game, but they might get on a team, but like being a starter might be a different.
I don't see either of them being a starter next season. I think Mac Jones would probably be a viable backup, and I think he could be a solid backup, even if he gets a fresh start. I think, a new scheme, which is crazy to think about because they still have Bill O'Brien, who he was with at Alabama. So I honestly thought they would take a step up with Mac Jones this season, but they didn't. but I just don't see him as a starter next season anywhere.
No, I mean, when you look at the teams that could possibly move on a Mac Jones, I mean, like the ones that just jump out at you immediately are the Saints, the Falcons, the Bucks. You know, when you're looking at maybe some other teams, you might see him like the Bears as maybe like a backup quarterback if they get someone else. Maybe Seahawks. These are some teams just spitballing that I think.
So you said Saints, Falcons, Bucks, possible teams for Mac Jones next season. Not really starter role, but maybe he's a backup, potential starter if needed.
Yeah, like maybe get you to camp, let you challenge for the job kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Not bad.
Yeah. Yeah, and looking at the AFC playoff picture, like everybody's bunched up, right? Like everybody is really, really bunched up right now. So you got like looking at the divisions, you got the Texans at 7-5, the Colts at 7-5. You got the Browns at 7-5, right? That will be the three that's in right now, right? And the wild card. The Bengals are 6-6, so they're still alive, right? And then you talk about their quarterback performance that they just had, right? Like,
so
they gave them hope,
What do you think of the Texans? Like, are they looking? Well, they've lost Tank Dell for the year.
Mm-hmm.
We know the Texans have lost Tank Dell for the season, but do you think that everything that they still have going for them, they are a true? We know right now they're a playoff contender, but do you think they have a chance in the AFC to actually make it to a potential Super Bowl or division championship?
I think they could get in there. I don't know if I will be so big on a Super Bowl, but I do think that they could get in there and maybe win a game, right, in the playoffs. I do think that they got that potential. I mean, their defense, D'Amico Ryans has them playing really well.
Yes,
they're starting to get hot too, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're starting to get Derek Stingley, Jalen Petry's really good in the secondary. They got Will Anderson, who's really coming on in the defensive end spot. They went and traded, remember, for the Philadelphia, Derek Barnett. So they're getting him more snaps, more acclimated to the defense. They got a really strong linebacker group. Their defense could carry them in games, right, a little bit. And C.J. Stroud, we know he's balling out, putting up points. Noah Brown's really been a great free agent pickup for him from Dallas. So they got some big things. He's turned Nico Collins into a number one receiver. You know what I mean? So
I've got Nico Collins in fantasy, and right now I'm so happy I do.
Yeah, like he's killing it.
Well. Yeah,
killing it, man, killing it. So there's a team that you talk about, and this is so crazy. Like when you're looking at it, the Tennessee Titans ain't even out of the AFC playoff picture right now, and they're 4-8.
Don't even get me started on the Tennessee Titans. I'm not a fan of the Titans. I'm just not.
Well, I'm not a fan of them making the playoffs, Tanner, but I will tell you one thing that is very bright for a lot of people's talking about is Derrick Henry is really turning it to another gear at the moment, right?
He has been in the last couple of games for sure.
Yeah, and if he could get it going, like and they just let their young quarterback just game manage a little bit until he learns a little bit more in the NFL. Like they could stay in games, right? I mean, not saying that they're going to make the playoffs. I don't think they do, but they could stay and keep things competitive in games.
Yeah. So the Tennessee Titans right now, they've got Traylon Burks back. I mean, honestly, represent pro Razorbacks. I love the Razorbacks, but they got Traylon Burks back. Derrick Henry's been playing great the last couple games. I love Tyjae Spears that they have as a backup. And like you said, if they can just get Will Levis in a situation just to manage the game more and not try to be a superstar, they have a chance to be a pain in the butt. But I still don't see the Tennessee Titans as a true playoff. I mean, they may have a chance of playoffs. I don't see them as a contender or a Super Bowl contender this year or even next year, to be honest. But and I've said that the last several years in a row just because they've had Ryan Tannehill, but we'll see.
Yeah, and here's somebody we can talk about with this. The Colts, they are the hottest team. Like we talk about the Texans, right? But The Colts are actually the hottest team right now in that division in the South. They've won 4 games in a row.
Yeah, they have.
And they're the hottest team in the AFC right now. They got the best win streak.
I think a lot of people just wrote them off when Anthony Richardson went down. So, I mean, just what they've been doing with Gardner Minshew has been extremely impressive.
Yeah,
sure.
Gardner Minshew, this was a great pickup. We talked about it actually in the offseason.
Yeah.
Gardner Minshew was an amazing pickup. Number one, he did not have to do a lot of learning on this offense, right? Because he was in Philadelphia with the Colts head coach. So he knew this system, right? He's getting their number one involved in Pittman. He's opened up things. That they even though they got Jonathan Taylor out, they got they got the other young back, Zach Moss, who's doing a really good job. He's a top 10 running back in the NFL. So the Colts are really playing well right now.
They really are. And they've gotten rid of, I want to say gotten rid of, but the drama of losing Shaq Leonard or Darius Leonard is behind them. We're still excited to see how he's going to play, but their defense playing good enough. They even lost that cornerback, I think, who got suspended for the whole season, or was it like 6 games? Was it Kenny Moore
or something? No, yeah, not Kenny Moore, but I think another person that got in trouble for gambling on the team too.
That's right. Yeah. So I mean, they've been honestly surpassing expectations with Gardner Minshew, kind of just managing the games. Wait until Gardner Minshew like really plays, I think, to his full potential. Because I loved watching him with the Jacksonville Jaguars, but I obviously saw reasons why they moved on. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, a prospect, but I've always been a fan of Minshew. I think he still has better football in front of him. He just has to learn to manage those turnovers a bit, I think.
Yeah, and just talking one more thing about this division, we'll move on, is the Colts and Texans are currently 1 game out from the Jaguars right now. So if the Jaguars lose and the Colts and Texans win, one of those 2 teams win, this week they could go in first place and be the division winner. One of those 2 teams could be the division winner, and the Jaguars would drop down and be the wild card. So something to watch there. I want to move to the AFC West, right? I mean, we look at the bottom of the pack there. You got all 3 teams at the bottom, like in there right now. You got the Broncos at 6-6, the Chargers at 5-7, and the Raiders at 5-7. And a lot of people's like, why ain't Brandon Staley fired? The only reason is the AFC, I feel, is bunched up, and they're going to see if Brandon Staley can get the Chargers a playoff spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only reason at this point that you're going to keep Brandon Staley, right? Brandon Staley, in my opinion, will not be there next year. Not unless something miraculous happens, like they get in the playoffs and, they get on such a run or something, and I don't see that happening. But when you look at things, Keenan Allen's had one, he's going to have a big year. So some big things happen there. Mack has had the best season he's had in a long time, Khalil Mack.
Yes.
So you got a lot of good things some positives there for the Chargers as well. So I really like, some of the things that they're doing. I don't think it has nothing to do with Brandon Staley. I think some of the players are just balling out. And,
I would really love to end this episode on this. I mean, I don't know how big of a rumor it is, but Bill Belichick, possible Chargers. Do you think he would love to coach the Chargers? I honestly don't know why Brandon Staley's still a head coach in the NFL. They should have moved on after last season, but with that roster and the talent that they do have, Belichick's always had like a top 10 defense, always. I think he's got a lot more input than people think on defense, and he makes very good coaching hires.
Right. I agree with you. Talk
about the Chargers and Bill Belichick.
Right. I think the Chargers and Bill Belichick is huge because Bill Belichick's going to look at this situation and look at, I got a quarterback. I do not have to go get a quarterback, right? In these other situations that he's been rumored in, he's going to have to probably go get a quarterback and develop them and all this stuff. But the Chargers, will be one. He's already got Justin Herbert. He doesn't have to do anything. He's got Keenan Allen,
Boom.
right? Yeah, I mean, he's already got the offense. He just puts a good offense in place there, and who knows? I mean, he might stay with Kellen Moore, right?
He could keep Kellen Moore. The thing is, though, is I love Justin Herbert. Keenan Allen is aging, but he's still having a fantastic season. Quentin Johnston is a huge question mark, not looking good.
Mike Williams injury prone.
Mike Williams isn't he out for the season?
Yep, he's out for the season. He's had a lot of injuries the last couple.
So you're going to have some replacements to make at the wide receiver group. I think Eckler's still finishing out this contract, and he's a question mark right now anyways with the way he's playing and with this whole contract situation. They would have some revamping to do on that offense, and you can never have good enough an offensive line.
Yeah, and think about it. Let's say Kellen Moore stays. Let's just talk about this. Like, say Kellen Moore stays, right?
Yeah.
And and Austin Eckler moves on. They could go get Ezekiel Elliott, who plays for the Patriots, and who played for Kellen Moore for multiple seasons in Dallas. Right?
That's true.
Yeah. So, I mean, that could be something that they go and do, and then maybe add another young running back, right, to go with the Zeke. And do that replacement there.
I do think they need to get. I'm not a Josh Kelly fan. I mean, obviously, like I said, if you make it in the NFL, you're an insane talent to begin with. But like what I'm saying is, I just don't believe that Josh Kelly is that backup running back they really need there, anyways. Mm-hmm. So like I would replace both running backs, be able to draft in preparation for that, get some staple wide receivers. I love Guyton there, but they need a better solid tight end.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they could look at maybe adding a tight end there in the off season, a better tight end that fits their system. But I think when you're looking at that, in my opinion, I think the Chargers will be a top landing spot for Bill Belichick.
Dude, they really. I cannot stress enough how much potential there is if they get rid of Staley, knowing that they have a chance at Bill Belichick. There's got to be some communication at some point going on between those two. If they address that offensive line, kind of prep, Belichick, kind of just master of all trades or jack of all trades when he gets, valuable running backs that can catch out of the backfield. He had White and Lewis and for the Patriots for years who were just great out of the backfield catching passes. If you can re-sign Eckler, especially if Belichick comes back, why wouldn't Eckler want to come back if Belichick goes there? So like he can have a bounce back season. Kellen Moore, like they could have a lot of potential, and I think that Belichick could have a lot of interest there.
Yeah, I want to talk about the Raiders real quick too. The Raiders are 5-7, same record as the Chargers, right? Multiple players have went to Raider ownership. Devontae Adams. We also had Max Crosby. They want Antonio Pierce back.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not saying that happens, but like looking at that situation, Tanner, like they're really pushing. The Raiders are not out of it. They're 5-7. If they get a win here and there, they can jump back into things. Same with the Broncos. They're 6-6. Like a win here, a win for them this week and a loss for another team, and they could be right in the thick of things.
True. I just don't think they have what it takes. I mean, they could be a pain in the butt, just like the Titans, a pain in the butt when it comes playoff time, getting into the playoffs, but they're not a contender in my opinion.
Right. We'll move on really quick and we'll talk about the Browns. The Browns are 7-5. They got Joe Flacco. I think they should roll with Joe Flacco, in my opinion. Because yes, he made a bad throw in that Rams game, but besides that, a lot of his throws were really good, right? And he opened up a lot of that Browns offense. I think they should roll with Joe Flacco, in my opinion. It's not been determined yet, but it wouldn't surprise me if they announce soon that they're going to roll with Joe Flacco this week, right?
Yeah, about the Browns, that rookie quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson just passed concussion protocols, so he's cleared to play, but they haven't announced the starter. But why wouldn't you roll with Joe Flacco the way he played? Veteran quarterback, he can make the smarter decisions for the most part. And then if he starts to play poorly, you need a spark on the offense, maybe rotate your quarterbacks through and then get the defense on their heels a little bit, mix up your play calling with which quarterback you have in the system. I don't know.
Right. We'll move on from there. Like we talked about Joe Flacco and them being in there. So the other big team that's been a little bit of a disappointment, but they're still in things, right, is the Bills. Right. They pretty much told McDermott he's coming back, right? Yeah. He's not going anywhere. Right. Not going anywhere. He's done a really good job with the defense. Even though they've had tons of injuries, he's done a really great job calling that defense. And the Bills, Josh Allen, he's got to get the interceptions under control. He's playing a lot better. He's still doing well, even though he's threw interceptions. He's like in the top of the passing, top in the touchdowns. Like, he's still doing a really good job. They just got to watch the turnovers.
My thing with Josh Allen is he's far enough in his career where his turnover problem should be fixed. Like you always have the potential to get better, and he's still young. Like what, maybe 27, maybe. I don't know how old he is.
He's not, like
maybe younger than that.
This is, he shouldn't be having the problems, honestly. But you know what? Like he's still so much of a talent that he's kind of keeping them in the games. If that makes sense.
Yeah, he's 27 years old. He'll be 28 when next season starts. It's just like he's got the talent to keep them in the games. To be a starting quarterback, it's just like this turnover problem. And those questionable decisions every once in a while, the home run throws shouldn't be being made anymore, but they are.
I want to bring this up, Tanner. Just bringing this up. I want to bring up the schedule this week, right? We're going to talk about the schedule and what that looks like. This could sort out some things this week in the AFC. Okay, so you got the Jaguars playing the Browns.
Yeah,
Browns has got the wild card. Jaguars are the division leader. Either the Browns are going to fall back, or the Jaguars will fall back possibly into a wild card, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the Colts and Bengals, both in the thick of things, both fighting for a wild card. So big time game there. You got the Texans and the Jets, right? If the Texans beat the Jets, they're done, right, for the season. That's going to knock them all the way out. They're almost out now, but it's going to be the knockout punch, right? If the Texans beat the Jets, which I think they will.
I love the Jets. And I'm sound cliche bandwagon here. I love the Jets as far as when Aaron Rodgers went there. I'm a big A-Rod fan, big Packers fan. I loved watching the Jets, but this is even with Aaron Rodgers playing now, I don't think the Jets would have been any good. They would have had a couple more wins, but now don't get me wrong. Like they would have been scoring way more points, I think, and their defense has been playing great, but I just don't think overall the consistency on the offensive play calling and everything, even with Aaron Rodgers there, if he was healthy playing, still wouldn't be panning out the way it should be with Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah. I think their offensive line's a huge issue, right? Their offensive line's a big issue that they're going to have to fix. Another thing I'm going to say, like we'll talk about really quick, another game, you got the Broncos and Chargers playing against each other, both trying to battle for a wild card. If the Chargers get beat, it could knock them out of the race, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they could knock them out, and then you could possibly see a Brandon Staley move, right? If that happens, in my opinion. But the Broncos, if they stay in, the Chargers beat the Broncos, Brandon Staley will probably be alive, and so the Broncos will still be alive too. But big game for the Chargers, right? With that, Chiefs and Bills, you're talking about, when you're looking at that, like. That's a big game too, right? So the Chiefs and Bills, if the Chiefs was to beat the Bills, that's going to put the Bills in a real bad spot. They're going to fall way behind in the wild card race with all these other teams playing against each other. When all these other teams are playing against each other, like it's one of them's going to win. So the Bills really are in a real tough situation. They really need to win this game.
I think the Bills are in a tough situation. Yeah. What do you think if the Bills? What do you think they'll do after this season if they don't make the playoffs?
If they don't make the playoffs, all signs point that they're staying with McDermott. I mean, a lot of it the way he handled the Damar Hamlin situation. He's had a lot of injuries. I think that he'll have to go get him an OC, offensive coordinator. Right? I really do. I think that they'll look at some of the changes on the roster too. They got to make some changes with their cap room.
Yeah, I agree.
I wouldn't be surprised if Diggs has moved, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not either. There's been too much drama around all that the last 2 seasons, and you can tell the frustrations there. So,
yeah, I think that they're just doing their best with it, but I think it wouldn't surprise me, right? If the right team called and the right team offered the right compensation, right?
agreed.
I think, yeah. So that's what I look at there.
We are right at 30 minutes. I think that's a great place to end the episode. We talked a lot about the AFC playoff picture and what we kind of just like a quick analysis of a lot of the teams in the AFC. I don't think we hit them all yet, but I mean, we're just kind of going over some big issues, big concerns, and trending topics in the AFC playoff picture. So that's it for episode 5, you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Let us know in the comments on YouTube. Hit us up in the email, NFLRumorspodcast@gmail.com. Reply to us, send us an email, thoughts, concerns, just everything you think about our podcast. We want to thank you guys for everything that you do. NFL Rumors, go ahead and sing us out of here.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you guys for the support. Make sure that you're grabbing our newsletter. Make sure you're subscribing to that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Make sure that you're following Tanner on Twitter. He's doing some big things with the NFL videos and news. Make sure you're following the NFL Rumors account for all your updates on our YouTubes as well. To keep you updated, we got you every kind of update. We're going to have you through the off season. Well, all the updates, the draft, all the updates on free agency, we're going to have you there. And we'll come back next week and probably look at talking about the NFC playoff picture with you, right? And look what everybody is looking like there. And we'll give you an update on the games and what happened in the NFC and the AFC this week. And we'll see you again next week. And thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. And thank you once again for a wonderful episode. Let's get us out of here with that intro, whatever.